proposal, the committee did, with the help of the city, and the RFP talked about the river and the history of the river and the logging on the river, and that's kind of what we were looking for, is a piece of art that would represent that. So we put the RFP out, and I remember it very well because I called Brad Lenz the week before. I said, we were hoping we'd get 5, maybe 6 submissions. We didn't know, we'd never done this before. So I called Brad, I said, are we getting it? He goes, a few have come in. And we got closer to the day, and I said, get any more? He goes, yeah. And the day of, he goes, oh my gosh. And the day after, it was like, Linda, I can't even count them all, but I think we have, at the time, over 90 different pieces of art from 80 plus artists from 5 different countries. So because I have this astounding commission that I work with, these people that are all artists, they knew where to send these RFPs to. I mean, it wasn't like, with all due respect to the buyer's guide in Wausau, we didn't put it there. We put it like all over, and we had world-renowned artists, submitting, and we were so excited. The Art Commission went through the list, and because we have awesome people on the Art Commission, they know how to do this. If it was an ex-banker, I don't know what we would have done, but these guys said you have to grade them, you have to go through them, you have to. So we whittled it down to 20, to 10, to 5, to 2. And I think we pretty much, kind of going from memory, we kind of passed those 2 on to the foundation. The foundation selected, we sent it to the city approved, and here we are. And then, but in that process, we also interviewed people. And so we interviewed Steve, we interviewed the top 5. And as I remember, Steve, you had 2 of the top 5. Is that right?
I submitted like
yeah. But I think you actually, yeah. So, but in any case, we did interview, and people said, well, why did you pick the one that you picked? Well, number one, we thought it was really interesting. We thought it represented a lot of logs coming down the river. I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for these guys, but we also thought Steve could get it done. And believe it or not, some of those proposals, I'm not sure they could have gotten it done. But then we did run into COVID, and we delayed it a little bit, but it turned out fine, because it turned out just like we thought it would. So thank you for that. So that's about the commission, and I thank all of them, because we go to these meetings and luckily everybody's really nice. We get along, and I'm glad to have them on the commission with me. Like I said, the donation was from the Walter Alexander Foundation. We have Alexander Reichel, who is a member of that family, here with us. And we are very appreciative of that. The Walter Alexander Foundation, Walter Alexander was, Alex will tell me if I'm wrong, known him for a long time. He was born in Scotland, pretty much raised here in Wausau at the end of the century. He worked as a child, as a kid, as a teenager in Walter McIndoe's sawmill, which was right here on the river. That was the Stevens sawmill, the original sawmill. And Walter owned a house up here by where the Methodist Church is now located. So this is the hood. Right here is the hood. And I think Walter Alexander touched so many things in Wausau that started. He was part of the Wausau group with his son Judd and other people. But Wausau Paper, Wausau Insurance Company, Marathon Electric, Masonite Corporation. I mean, there's so many things. The Wisconsin Valley River Improvement Association that dammed up the river, that controls the river. He's involved with the railway, with the electric light company. I mean, everything that was important that happened at Wausau at the end of the century, Walter Alexander was part of. And so it's his legacy that Ruth and Ann Alexander started this foundation in 1950, something like that, to commemorate his involvement in this wonderful town we call Wausau. So we are grateful to the Walter Alexander Foundation. Thank you. Thank everybody and your family. We're very appreciative. Thank you. Okay. You can't do something like this when you're a city commission without the help of somebody in the city. And we have Brad Lenz, who is, bless his heart, when he got assigned us, he probably went, oh God, what am I gonna do with those crazy wackadoodle art people? But Brad has been patient and kind. And he's really spearheaded this thing as far as the city's concerned. So I'm gonna ask him to take a couple of sentences, and a thank you very much to Brad.
All right. Thank you, Linda. She didn't mention herself. She is the chair of the Arts Commission, so all the credit that she gives other people, Linda deserves a lot too. So thank you for leading the commission down this road. It's really interesting. It's different than a lot of the things I've done. Interesting is good, not in a bad way. It's very good. So thank you. Thank all the Arts Commission members. Of course, Alex, thank you very much. Where did Alex go? There he is. Thank you for trusting Linda and the Arts Commission and Stephen. You sort of let him roll with it, his vision, and I think he appreciates that, and I think it came out better for it. So that was great. Thank you very much. Just to thank, I wasn't the only one. There's a lot of other city and county staff. Jamie Polly, Parks Department, some of her staff helped in some of the technical stuff, hooking up the light, the electricity, and so forth. We'll be filling in some landscaping and whatnot as we go. City engineering. Alan Wazalowski, city engineer, Rick Pergolski, our electrician, helped with some of the lighting over here on the walkway, and continue to be involved and make sure this thing stays looking good and functioning as we go forward. So thanks to them. And of course, thanks to Steve Manka. You did it, man. Good job. Thank you. Steve would send me progress photos from Cleveland, and it was kind of hard to see, what was happening. It was laying outside, and it was in pieces, and before it was painted and everything, it's like, oh man, I hope you know what you're doing. But yeah, it came to town in September, and it went up, and it was a bit of relief, I think, from some people, but it's actually turned out better than I thought it would. So it's amazing. So thank you. And then the first night that he was here, we were testing the lights, and Steve was in full mad scientist mode, just running around. People were clapping from their balconies when the lights went on. It was, I'll never forget that. That was awesome. And with the lights on, everyone should come back at night because it's really impressive. It changes colors and glows, and it's really amazing. So thank you very much. Do you want to say something? All right. Steve Manka, everybody.
Thank you guys. No, I'm so fortunate to have won this competition, and to hear the stiff, all the talent that went after it. I feel very fortunate. But thank you for choosing it, because it was a wild design that I had no idea how to make. But that's how I start every project. Then you're like, all right, let's figure out how to make it, where the vision is still there. And if I were to give you kind of the giveaway is, if you can imagine a log raft coming down the river, and it's bound together, and then just the tension of it just releases and just kind of does that. But I think there's other things that I was thinking about as well as this thing was taking shape. One is just the play of natural light. I want this thing to look different at different times of the day. So you come in the morning, it'll be reflecting the gray, misty morning, or it might blind you a bit if the sun's just right. But then at night, the glow of the lighting will give it another kind of life to come explore. But and then I started working with some people, and they're like, it looks like a wolf kind of howling. I'm like, all right, I can see it. And then from a different angle, it looks like a bird wing. And we were just up at the museum, and I've never seen so many beautiful bird paintings. I was like, it kind of is a bird wing. So whatever you can bring to it, it's yours now. I'm gonna walk away and leave it with you. Call me if there's any, like an act of God. But as we put it in, by the way, it went so smoothly. We had a great engineer locally, Susan Lisecki, thank you so much, with ionic structures and other systems. This foundation goes down 24 feet, past the water table, past sawdust, into solid ground. The concrete was done by Dan Crawl, another local. So I'd come into town, I would establish some relationships, and I was able to line it up. And then the day of the install, for the people who saw it, it was just the smoothest thing. And you know, when you sweat every detail, and you think of every way it could go wrong, and you make you know, assurances that it won't go wrong. It was the smoothest install I've ever seen in my life. And then we celebrated, and we were like, people asked me, what's the title of this thing? What are we going to call this thing? And I was like, I don't know yet. And I'm like, I need to come up with a narrative. And I was like, what if there was a poet, a local poet, who could describe this thing? And I'm going to ask Ava to deliver what she came up with on this. I'll give it to you here.
Thank you, Stephen. So actually, I met Stephen and his team at Red Eye when I was his bartender, actually. And they were already drinking for a while before I actually clocked in. And I walk over there, and they're like, hey, and they're just talking to me, and they're just really. I felt like I just came upon them when they were at the climax of this thing, and so I felt like I was in the middle of a story I just didn't know, So I was like, oh, you guys seem like, you're at the climax and then the ending of the story, and congrats on whatever you just did. I don't know what you did, but you're happy, and that's great. So
Yeah.
then they ended up just getting to know me a little bit, so I chatted with them for a while, and they, Stephen or someone was like, oh, hey, this is it, by the way. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I wasn't really sure what it was. I was looking at it, trying to figure out what it was in between making drinks for everybody at the bar. And they found out that I'm a writer, and I don't have anything actually published yet, but this is my first piece that's ever out there to the public, so thank you very much for that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And I came up with a poem for, once I discovered what it was and what the story was behind it, so I'm going to read that for you right now. And I think it's called In the Pines. We all tried to decide a title for the poem, too.
Yeah. So it's it's all engraved on this plate over here.
Yeah, there's
but
a plaque.
In the Pines is the title of the piece.
All right. So, in the northern forests, the memory pines hold up the sky. From a distance could be heard a chorus. Timber! On the Wisconsin River, bubbling, battering, bustling, a sharp tang of sap eagers the nose. Splintered tree bones dance downstream. Upon the watery ordery, a mighty log raft stays afloat, poking, pulling, prodding. The timber is bound tight by chains. A vessel of logs for lumber, the transportation to its final transformation, a chair, a window frame, a piece of paper, from these northern woods to the people. So thank you.
Thank you, Ava. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I love that this poem is up here as almost a narrative to describe maybe why, leaving still some mystery. And so I hope as you guys come to live with this, that you guys like it. Among there's just another last thought. My grandmother, Germaine Manka, or Germaine Kittinger at the time, grew up in Green Bay, and met my grandfather at Milwaukee. They got married, and he was a dentist for the military, so they traveled around the globe and around the world. But she was from Green Bay, and there was always Packers stickers on the refrigerator. And she was a painter, and I felt like it was important to acknowledge her on the sculpture. So it's unexpected tears, but she was a great woman. She's passed away since, but so again, thank you for the opportunity to do this sculpture. It's my boldest piece, and we'll see what comes next. But this is my favorite piece yet. So thank you, all you Wausau people.
Thank you. So I didn't know that you were as afraid of it as we were.
I start all my projects that way, where it's like, we'll figure out how to do it. as we go. It'll occur.
And like we said, of all the people we thought Stephen could actually deliver on what he promised, and he absolutely did, because it looks exactly like we thought it would. You know,
I appreciate it.
so we're so happy.
No, I
So
appreciate
thank
it.
you for that, and thank you to all the city people that helped, and the Alexander Foundation for their efforts. And I guess I'd ask if there's just any question that is burning in anybody's mind that we can answer. If not, we'll invite you to stay around and talk with Stephen, and I encourage other foundations, other funders to be the next piece of art in the collection. I think Mark's going to do one.
Yeah.
And we encourage that.
Yeah, just like a rhythm of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for coming. And come
Yeah,
back and see
thank
the
you,
lights
guys.
when they turn on, because it's going to be something beautiful.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Okay.